Good morning, friends. Your host Samir Gupta today coming live with a new topic for the day. And again, we're discussing something about insurance, specifically to health insurance. Till now, we have understood probably all about health insurance, the kind of policies, the companies that we have in this country, and how to choose the company, the plan and the coverages to choose, and the exclusions. Today, probably there's something that I brought in a new product or a new topic. Today, we will specifically talk about sublimits and waiting periods in a health policy. Uh, you must have heard this term called waiting period, sublimits in a policy. But let us understand what is the impact of these uh, so-called waiting periods and in the health insurance, and what is the impact of sublimits on our policy. What is the sublimits? Sublimit means preset limits to specific coverages. Now if you must have heard, sir, room rent ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, this is the amount of room rent available, this is how much you will get for ICU, this is what you will get for maternity, this is how much you will get for let's say cataract. These are the supplements that we talk about, and most conventional health insurance plans still have sublimits. If you go with the PUC companies, the PUC companies still have sublimits in their plans for domiciliary expenses, for nursing home care, for Ayush. There are lots and lots of sublimits, even to the basic extent of room rent, how much of expense they'll pay for operation theater in case of a surgery, how much will they pay for anesthesia in case of surgery, in case of using the OT, what is the amount of coverage is given for ICU. These are all supplements available in your health plan, and you have to understand why these have been designed. Well, the supplements were designed initially to keep the premiums low, and also to health insurance companies, uh, and also to help health insurance companies to reduce their liability. Now, when I say to reduce the liability, supposing if you have a sublimit and that is what you pay, no matter how much the hospital charges you, but then you will pay only this much. The balance amount can be either has to be paid or can be paid by the insured. Sublimits generally are on the hospital room rent, the ICU, the OT, the doctor's consultation fee, ambulance charges, medical procedures, and also for, as I told you, Ayush, for domiciliary expenses, for home care, for nursing, and things like that. Pre and post also has sublimits sometimes. Most of the plans, even pre and post hospitalization also has sublimits. So these are the basic sublimits that are there in your insurance plan. Uh, Whenever you choose a health insurance plan, please understand the sublimits and then choose the plan, because your premium of the health insurance will directly impact uh, by the amount of sublimits available in the insurance. And the least the sublimits, higher the premium. More the sublimits, lower the premium. That is the concept. So that's why you have to choose it properly. Moreover, I would say that you should understand your situation, your health, lifestyle, your conditions, your place of where you are staying, where you have experience. See, probably if you're staying in a metro, you should have less sublimits. But if you're staying in a tier 2 or tier 3 city, if you're staying in a village where the nearest the hospital would be in the taluka, then you can choose with a right balance of supplements and have lower premiums. That is something that I would say. Please look at your sublimits in the insurance that you choose, and accordingly plan for for your insurance. The other thing that we'll discuss today is waiting periods. Now, you should also understand that waiting periods are very important part of your health insurance plan, and they also have an impact on your premium. Now, what are waiting periods? How to why are the waiting periods there? what is the impact of waiting period, we will understand that in detail. But first and foremost, please understand that waiting periods are also designed, and it's a regulation by the IRDA to control fraudulent claims. In a country like India, where health insurance penetration is very low, people buy insurance. Many a times, people buy insurance after they get to know that they have some medical issue, health issue, or they are hospitalized. Many times, they even want to buy insurance after they are hospitalized. So, in these conditions, we have to understand that waiting periods play a very big role, and uh, that is something that you have to take care of. So, this you cannot. In fact, most of the companies, the supplements are getting lower and lower, less and less, but waiting periods are still there. And waiting period, because IRD also emphasizes on the fact that waiting periods are important and compulsory. Not no company can set away policies without waiting periods. And probably very few insurance companies charge you a higher premium. Maybe they charge you a very high premium to ensure that the waiting period is reduced, but you cannot negate it. You cannot nullify all the waiting periods. Some of the waiting periods that we generally see in all insurance policies is 30-day waiting period, 1 year waiting period, 2 year waiting period, 4 year waiting period, and specific waiting periods. Now, what are these waiting periods? Why are they there? Let us understand these in detail. First and foremost, 30-day waiting period. It is also called the cooling period. When you buy a health insurance plan for the first time, from the day of buying the plan, for the first 30 days, except for accidents, nothing else is covered. Whether it is planned, unplanned, sickness, illness, or an emergency. A heart attack can happen anytime to anybody. But if it happens within the first 30 days of buying the policy, it is not covered. A stroke could happen to anybody, any time. So even that is not covered for the first 30 days. But if an accident happens and you're hospitalized because of an accident, that is covered from day one, because that is not in our control in the first place. So that is what it means, that the 30-day waiting period is a must for all policies, and is a government rule and IRDA stipulated guideline. So we have to adhere to that, and 30 days is the minimum waiting period. Some companies have 60 days, some have 90 days, and most companies, earlier companies, when we talk about conventional medical policies, they had 1 year waiting period. So those days they used to say, first year you will not be covered for anything at all except for accident. So that was the probably post independence term, when IRDA was not there, only GIC companies were there. When you had this 1 year waiting period, now specifically all companies follow 30-day period, and that is how the change is coming. Even old companies like United India, New India, Oriental, even they are now started following the 30-day waiting period for the cooling period. So the 1 year thing is now very less in use, but still there are policies which are still continuing with 1 year waiting period. Then we have the 2 year waiting period. In this 2 year waiting period, there are specific conditions. I think 16 in all, which are not covered for the first 2 years. Uh, these are specifically designed and curated by IRDA and by the Indian Medical Council to ensure that there is a uniformity in coverage and uniformity in terms of guidelines. These waiting periods that have been specified for the 2 year waiting period, they have one thing in common, that this could happen to anybody, and it could be, the medication could be prolonged for more than a year. Now, when I say that it can be prolonged for more than a year, I mean, supposing somebody has a hernia problem. This hernia problem could be kind of delayed for 6 months, 8 months, maybe even a year, and then it requires medical attention. A piles, a fistula, a fissure can be medically controlled for more than 6 months to 1 year. But at the time when it becomes very important, medical attention is required. Then you need to have you need to get admitted to hospital, and medical attention is most importantly required. So this is again the second thing I was talking about in terms of 2 year waiting period. Then there are all kind of tumors, cancers, tonsillitis, uh, hernia, hydrocele, kidney stone, bladder stone, knee surgery, cataract, uh, appendicitis. These are all not covered. There's a list of 16 specific conditions which generally are stipulated by the government of India, the IRDA, and these conditions are very stringently not covered for the first 2 years. Some companies are coming out with a lot of innovations and telling that okay, we will not cover it for 1 year, but after 1 year they can be covered. But most of companies still have that waiting period for this specific 16 conditions as per IRDA. Then we have the 4 year waiting period, which is we generally say all PED conditions are not covered for the first 4 years. However, many insurance companies are now again coming out with higher premiums and telling you that okay, we will cover you after 3 years. The waiting period can be reduced to 3 years, and in specific conditions, specific policies, it is even reduced to 18 months. There are a lot of innovations happening wherein on these conditions are coming down in terms of reducing the term of the waiting period and bringing it down to uh, some companies have 1 year for even PED. After 1 year, they're covered. And some companies have 18 months. Many companies have 2 years, 3 years, and then generally it is a 4 year period by the government of India or the IRDA. So that is one thing. Then we have the final, the most important thing is specific waiting periods for specific conditions. Uh, First thing is maternity. It is generally a rule that 9 months is the waiting period minimum, and then beyond 9 months, it's sometimes 2 years, sometimes 3 years, and many companies have 4 years waiting period. Bariatric surgery, some companies have it after 2 years, many companies only after 4 years. IVF, probably many companies cover after 3 years, and most companies again 4 years is what they follow for IVF. Preventive healthcare or PHC, what we call, that is many companies do it from day one, and most companies follow it 1 year waiting period. After 1 year of no claim renewal is when they give you that preventive healthcare advantage or benefit, and otherwise it's like most companies, the new age companies, the new products, the new policies that have been filed and approved by IRDA, they cover you from day one. Like supposing you buy the policy today and you want to go do a health checkup the next day, you can still get it done. So the new age policies, the new latest policies approved by IRDA, they have this. Now, we should also understand the reason why and how they impact the premium. Why is the waiting period reduced? Is there are specific conditions that they are talking about, and that is when they increase the premium by 20%, 25%. Some companies increase by 40%, up to 40% they increase the premium. Now, once you do that and choose that policy, you are bound to pay the premium at 40% higher than the normal average premium for lifetime. Now, just because you wanted to decrease 1 year of waiting period and you chose to go higher premium, you are bound to pay that higher premium lifetime. So that is something that I will always tell. If you can reduce your premium or go with standard premium, normal premium, and have a longer waiting period, that way you will save money for life, and also you will control your health for that particular waiting periods. So in that waiting period, you have to ensure that you are not hospitalized for that waiting for that specific PED what we're talking about. So because the less the waiting period, the more waiting period that you reduce by the insurance company, that your premium will keep going up every year. So supposing, and you know that premium in health insurance is according to your age. So in this case, what happens is, supposing if you have taken a policy at young age and then reduce your premium just to make sure that you are kind of don't want waiting periods. At a later stage, when you are aging, your premiums go up drastically, and then that 40% of that premium would be a huge impact on your pocket. So you should understand that and then take a call. So this is something we I want to discuss today and then tell you how to handle and control that. One thing I actually wanted to specifically mention here is when I say PED, this is just for your information that when somebody says, "Oh, I don't understand what is PED," PED is nothing but pre-existing disease or any disease or condition declared by the insured at the time of inception of the policy, like probably a major surgery due to an accident, a major surgery maybe due to some maybe you had some hernia, you had kidney stones, you had some issue with those kind of surgeries. Then diabetes and hypertension, because we know India is the diabetic capital of the world. So when that is there and you are diabetic, if you mention that you are diabetic at the time of taking the policy initially, then that becomes a PED for you. And whatever the waiting period in the policy will apply for any hospitalization due to diabetes. If you are diabetic, if you are hypertensive, if you have BP and you are hospitalized because of BP, then under the waiting period, BP won't be covered for that particular waiting period. That is what waiting period means. So please be clear on that. Other than that, everything else is covered. If you have mentioned PED and PED is like say diabetes, then only diabetic related admission for the first 2, 3, 4 years won't be covered in your policy if there is a waiting period for that. After the fourth year, or after the third year, or after the second year, whatever the specific waiting period for diabetes is there, after that period is over, then you are covered for diabetes also. So if you are hospitalized for diabetes, then that is covered under the policy. It's just that the waiting period is there for that particular waiting period. After the waiting period, everything else is covered. So this is the one reason I always say that you buy insurance when you don't need it, when you are healthy and when you are young. This way, you will also ensure that you are covered for everything from day one. And on the other hand, when you are healthy and you don't need insurance, if you have insurance, it is always good. It doesn't hurt. But if you need insurance and you don't get it, then it is really bad and it hurts a lot. So keeping that in mind, I think you should understand that buying insurance early is the best thing to do. It was one of the best decisions that you will take. Do call me at my number 9886100026 if you want a more detailed discussion on health insurance. And if you kind of like the video, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to our video and our channel so that it will be a good encouragement for us also to do more and more for you. Thank you and have a good day.